Hi everybody and big welcome to cEDh TV. Me, Pontus and Redrick, joined by Snusky.
Hello! So, we're playing Tropical Malcome today. I have never played a Malcome deck, so we're going kind of blind, but I've played against it a bunch. It has some pod lines I haven't seen before, but they're pretty cool. I hear this deck is pretty good. Shout out to Sane and Josh, who both love this deck.
All right, hey everyone, back with Pumpkin Spice Latte for a third gameplay match. So we're gonna try to get enchantments, stacks, all those things. I'm learning it as I go, and thanks to everyone so far for comments on how to play this commander.
Today I'm playing Armix and Kraum. There's been some updates to this list, kinda modernizing it, making it more adapted to today's meta. So I'm trying those changes and see how they feel.
So I just won a game with derevi on the channel. However, the big reason of why I wanna play derevi to begin with is because the One Ring in derevi is actually pretty good. So I've made some updates to the list. I've added and changed a little bit about the flyers, Fairy Mastermind in particular, and Hushbringer. So once again, the main goal is obviously to win, but I'm hoping to get some cool derevi, the One Ring execution. We'll see how it goes. Let's take a look at some opening hands. So we have mulled down to 5. We have a turn 1 Mystic Remora. And turn 1 Mystic Remora was something of the reason why I won last game with derevi. It's a good opener, period. Sadly this time though, we're going up against decks that aren't heavy on the artifact ramp. They are a little bit creature orientated, so they could play around fish, so this could accidentally not work out at all. However, we have Ledger Shredder, and that could be a tiny help, maybe. But it is important to mulligan or try to achieve an opener that has a game plan, and this hand actually has a game plan. That's why I stopped on it. Now let's take a look at what Pontus is able to find. He's probably gonna mull down to like 4.
Let's draw for 7. This hand is like okay, but not that great. It's a turn 1 Signet into a turn 2 Wheel, I guess. That's not that good. It's keepable, but it's not good enough, so let's just mull. I don't think we're keeping this hand, but it is pretty interesting. What we can do with this hand is, if we draw a second land, we can turn 2 Wishclaw plus Dockside, I think. Yeah, the mana works out. Wishclaw plus Dockside. So if Dockside makes 5, turn 2, and we draw a land, it's just turn 2 Nos with no backup because we don't have Fears or Force of Neg on our turn. I actually think that's kind of keepable though. We're like highly dependent on drawing a land to really get this going, but just going like turn 2 Armix, turn 3, go for it with backup. We have 2 blue decks against us. We have a bunch of live draws. No, I think it's a bit too much copium for us to keep on the second 7. But it is worth considering. Like, we do have Rhetoric has the potential of spamming down a bunch of enchantments. Some of them might turn off Dockside though. So I don't think we're live turn 2, and I think that's the big downside of this hand, because both Mons and Snusky has a high chance to play Dorks. So yeah, we could have risked it with this hand, but I'm actually gonna mull for something safer. It's pretty decent though. Here we basically just have the question is the turn 1 fish worth not having that much else? In this pod, I'm not sure. I think Snusky, the deck is kind of 50-50 if you spam down Artifact mana or if you just play Dork Pass. Both of those are like viable starts. Because you usually want to play a turn 1 Malcome, I'd kind of assume I was going to get 1 card draw of Snusky. Rhetoric, I don't think I'm drawing early. And Mons is also kind of hit or miss. I would assume Mons is more creature-based, so I wouldn't be drawing that much from him. So if we're saying that this Mystic War is drawing 1, maybe 2 cards until my next turn, I don't really have much going for me. Like, I can gamble for Mana Crypt, and then I have a wheel next turn? I don't know. I feel like this Mystic War would just have to work too much overtime for me to actually keep this. It is a turn 1 Mana Crypt going second, which is really good. I would be going to 5. No, I'm actually going to keep this hand. We do have a lot of potential here, even though it's not perfect. But this Mystic War is going to work. They're going to have to overtime. And yeah, let's see if it does. Go ahead, Snusky.
This is interesting. It's also kind of weird. There's a world where we play a Finhorn Elves turn 1. Turn 2, we tutor for a dark side, but then we would need a dark side for a lot. Would that have to be like 7, I believe? So we need the 1 extra treasure. We get to attack with Glinthorn on that turn, and then if we connect, we get 1 treasure. So we need 3 for Malcolm, 3 for Glinthorn. We get 1 treasure, so 1 extra. Dark side for 7 on turn 2 with pack backup. And then worst case, we just take it slow, play Malcolm turn 2. And then we have the Glinthorn for turn 3. I mean, sure. See what stacks is going to stop us. I think this is a good hand, but as I mentioned, I'm going in pretty blind, but this looks good.
Okay, let's take a look at our opening 7. Beseiju, Horizon Canopy, Sanctum Weaver, Seal of Primordium. I mean, there's not much going on with this one, and if I've been learning lessons from you all, don't keep it if you don't have that many enchantments. We have this one, which could be awesome, but I kind of want something slightly faster, maybe even a combo piece early on, or a stacks piece, because I'm seeing a lot of artifacts once again. All right, this one looks a little bit better. We have 2 lands, so we could play probably Blind Obedience because we have Exploration first. This is much better. Things are going to come in tapped, even sort of creatures that would have haste if I'm looking at Glenhorn, Buccaneer, derevi, and so forth. There's going to be some things that are shut down because of this, so I'm going to keep this one.
I'm gonna play this Scalding Tarn and sacrifice it, finding a tropical island and tapping that for blue, and casting a Mystic Remora. It resolves and I pass the turn.
Go to my turn. So that Felwarstone top deck is really nice, but that fish is pretty annoying. So what we can do here is we can go land, gamble for Mana Crypt, and as long as we don't discard Felwarstone, Crypt, or Mystic Remora, we can just do Mana Crypt, Felwarstone, Mystic Remora. And we do have a Wheel of Fortune as well next turn. Sadly, it's a Wheel of Fortune next turn, so we don't actually reset the fish. If we could gamble for Mana Crypt and wheel this turn, that would be awesome. So that monsters get the value and we get to interrupt the other 2 players. While feeding fish isn't optimal, I think this is a worthwhile line of play. I think as long as we don't discard the Mana Crypt, we're actually kind of fine. Even if we discard Remora or Wheel, both of those I'm fine with getting rid of. Discard the Felwarstone is a bit awkward, but we still have both Wheel and Mystic Remora the next turn. And honestly, if I discard the Felwarstone, I might just pass. So yeah, I'm gonna feed the fish a bit, but I think it's our best play, and emptying our hand, hopefully dumping a fish and having a wheel next turn is a really good play, so I'm gonna do it. Also, Mons isn't that fast of a deck, so I think we're kinda safe being a bit greedy, but we might be punished. Let's see. I'll play a Polluted Delta, a land of turn, and I will fetch. I'll tap Volcanic Island to cast a Gamble, not paying for fish.
Draw a card.
Gamble resolves. I'll put this card in my hand and discard a card randomly. I discard a Wheel of Fortune. That means we're doing this thing. Cast the Mana Crypt, not paying for fish. Tap Mana Crypt for a Felwarstone, not paying for fish. Tap Felwarstone for blue. Cast a fish, not paying for fish.
What can I say? Great minds think alike. I'll draw a card. You can have a fish. Fishes are good, right, Sniske?
That's my response.
Fish resolves, and I'll pass the turn.
Guess we're just feeding fish this game. I'll draw a card. I will play this Rejuvenating Springs and be a responsible person and simply cast this Lana World.
Boring.
I'll pass the turn.
All right, draw a card for turn. All right, that's not bad. Yeah, we're gonna have to do stuff. Boo. Verdict Catacombs. Tap it, pay a life. And we're gonna feed 2 fishies by casting Exploration.
I will draw a card.
And I'll wheel as well.
Exploration resolves. Yay! We'll put a Bountiful Promenade into play. I will also put a Mana Crypt into play. Not paying for either fishes. Fantastic. Okay, and then I'm going to tap these 2. Bountiful Promenade and Mana Crypt, and cast a Moon-Blessed Cleric. Moon-Blessed Cleric resolves. I'll go fetch up an enchantment. Alrighty, I'm getting a Whip Silk, putting it on top of my library. And with that, I have 3 cards in hand. I'll pass turn.
So back to my turn. Now the question comes, pay for fish or pay for fish? The simple reason is why we're paying for fish here is that I don't really have any key cards in my hand that I want. I don't really have a mana dork. The only thing we're developing if we're not paying for the fish is Ledger Shredder. And I'd rather have fish 1 more turn cycle in play instead of the Ledger Shredder. If I would have had dorks, mana rocks, and maybe something big, where I could explode with the production in mana, I would probably sack the fish here. We do have the war gates, so if we get enough mana we can find the One Ring, but for now we're gonna sit tight and hope for more draws on the fish. Draw a card for turn. Let's play this Savannah and unmox Amber, not paying for Pontus Mystic Remora, discarding 2 lands down to 7 and passing the turn.
Go to my turn. In upkeep, I'll roll for crypt, odds damage. Roll to 5, take 3, and I will pay for Mystic Remora with my Volcanic Island. Then I'll draw for turn. Land for turn will be a Flooded Strand, and I will fetch. Finding a Underground Sea, I'll tap 2 to cast a Talisman of Dominance, not paying for fish. I'll tap 3 mana and cast my commander Armix. With Armix in play, I'll pass the turn.
I will untap my land. Upkeep, I would like to cast a Wargator. I do not pay for fish with my 1 mana. I would like to put a Dark Side on top. I'll draw for turn. Play this Fiery Island, cast a Dark Side.
I pass.
I pass with my 5 artifacts and their enchantments.
Dark Side, ETB. Is the creature a enchantment or just a creature? Okay. I will make 9 treasures. Let's use 3 treasures and cast the one and only bird, Malcome. Malcome resolves. I would like to spend 3 more treasures and cast a Glinthorn.
Pass, being sad about what's in my hand.
I also pass on the casting of Glinthorn.
Pass on Glinthorn.
Cool. Glinthorn resolves. I would like to move to combat.
I have a response to Glinthorn. I will, before you move to combat, I am going to Swords to Plowshare your Glinthorn.
Right. With the fish trigger from Pontus on the stack, I would like to show you a Pact of Negation. I cannot pay for the fishies.
I draw.
And I will also draw a card. Sadly though, I actually didn't draw into any form of interaction here, so I will pass and hope Pontus has something.
From what I can see, this deck doesn't run interaction, so I pass.
Sick. Pact resolves. Swords is countered.
I guess we have a problem. I think we're dead.
Alright, so I have Malcolm and Glinthorn in play, and we are moving to attackers. When that happens, I will attack with Glinthorn and Mons. I was lucky enough to get enough treasures that this doesn't actually have to connect to get me the treasure from Malcolm for this activation. So I can, in this case, just pay 2 mana, because Glinthorn at this moment counts as attacking. And then I will discard this Waterlock Grove. And with this draw activation on the stack now, this will put a trigger on the stack from the Glinthorn to deal 1 damage to each of my opponents. When that happens, Malcolm sees a pirate that has dealt damage to 3 different opponents, which will give me 3 treasures. The smarter part of the audience can see where this is going. Now that I got my 3 treasures, there's just the draw left, so I will draw a card. Now, because Glinthorn is still attacking, and we just got 3 mana, we can now spend 2 of that mana, discard another card, in this case Fyndhorn Elves, put another Glinthorn trigger on the stack to deal 1 damage to each of my opponents, to make another 3 treasures. As you can see, I keep making more treasures as this goes on, and I will keep drawing a card as well. So as long as I have a card in my hand and cards in my library, I will keep doing this until my opponents are dead. And luckily I have enough cards in my library and 3 opponents that I will make enough mana to kill everyone. Yay!
So yeah, post-game talk. I was super happy about being having my fish being feeded there, but not so happy about having Dockside being feeded. Guess I can't have both. I mean, if Dockside wouldn't have been feeded, my fish wouldn't have been feeded, so my game would have been miserable anyways, I think.
Yeah, it was hard to hide my excitement for the amount of artifacts and enchantments that came onto the board.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, totally regretting not playing Blind Obedience on the first turn. I mean, I wanted to play Exploration, get extra enriched land drop, and then thought I had like 1 more turn, but like with the prominence of Dockside just coming out turn 1 or 2, it doesn't, you just play it turn 1, play it as fast as possible. And I also had a Ganjo to maybe deal with Glinthorn later, which I thought I had like some time, but it is what it is. Sucks. I saw that come down. I'm like, those would have all been tapped. We'd have been fine.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Blind Obedience would have destroyed my game plan for sure.
Yeah, I think it would destroy everyone's game plan kind of bit. It's a good card currently.
Yeah, very much, very much.
There's actually an argument for putting down Blind Obedience quite early in the game. It really slows down these very aggressive starts from people, so to say.
Yeah. shuts down the boogeyman that is Dockside and also the Grixis setup turns.
Yeah, it just makes the game go longer, which is kind of what you need. But I can see, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. You should have gotten one more turn at the very least. This was fast.
Yeah, it was my first 7 too. That was cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I just looked at it and kept talking through it, kept realizing that it got better and better.
I'm just annoyed I didn't keep the Otavara up. I literally thought, if he has Dockside Glinthorn, I just lose. But he doesn't have it. And then you had it.
I'm actually really proud of myself. I had a Swords to Plowshare. I feel good.
Yeah, having the pack backup as well was just stupid. But now I see why I kept losing to this deck. Just do what Zane does. Just always have the Buccaneer in hand. Doesn't matter.
It's kind of strange, like how fast cEDh can sometimes be, because in the end, like, this is a very fast game, but there's a lot of things that could have changed the speed here, so to say. But it's also really hard to, like, sometimes plan for this, so to say.
Yeah, there were 2 decisions basically in this game that ended up with me winning the game, and that was not casting Blind Obedience and casting the Armix. And both decisions, I would say, came from a position of greed, which is very normal because you want to advance your own game plan and set yourself up to have a higher chance to win instead of pulling yourself back and interacting.
Yeah.
So it's a very natural response, and it's, as Pontus also said, I would need specifically Dockside and Buccaneer in hand, which was very unlikely. So not keeping up on Aurora was fair.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing something of a game of, like, luck and random, so to say. And sitting, trying to make a prediction saying, yeah, there's a chance he doesn't have it, so just like Rhetoric said, I'm probably gonna have another turn. I can agree with it.
Yeah, it wasn't even the end of turn 2.
Yeah, you didn't even get a turn 2. You sat on your turn 1.
And I think that's what's very hard about this format is, like, it is so effing fast now. I mean, if you're not playing a stacks piece or you're not playing something to win on turn 2, like, you're bleeped, you know, in some different ways. Like, there's just, it's kind of annoying in that sense, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it feels very much like, damn if you don't, damn if you do. It's very hard to actually sometimes know what to do in some situations. And it can be, see, some people can actually say that Commander and cEDh is very random and very chaotic. I think it's just very hard to see. It's not random, it's just very hard to see it compared to 1v1.
Yeah, like playing cEDh is just mostly about like playing to your odds.
Yeah.
Like in my case, not playing Otavara is just me in my head being like, okay, the odds of me losing if I don't do this is pretty low, and my win percentage goes up if I do this. So like, you're just playing to the odds, and sometimes you lose, and that's just life.
Yeah. So we really hope you enjoyed the video. We really want to bring like an educational, fast-paced gameplay match because it is a very complex format, but because it's kind of hard to actually try to explain why things matter during the game sometimes, this little post-game talks could be good. So we'll see if that's something that works out for in the future. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and we will read the feedback. Until then, thanks for watching and stay safe.